Hey guys, this is my pal Scott. We are going to be giving him a cut that I like to call the General. You can see the top is very short length, so typically I do a very slightly damp, just scissor over comb on top. And at first what I do is I go through and I set it a base length with my center guideline, and then I go off on each side and do the same thing as far as tying that in. I do a second pass to make sure everything is in line with my guideline. I don't have anything sticking out from my guideline. I will get in the future different camera angles to be able to showcase this better, and maybe even do some mannequin examples on how I go about cutting the top when it comes to shorter cuts like this. This right here is another big tip, guys. Whenever you go back through and double check the top, it's always good to do that with dry hair. That way you can see every little mark, every little cut mark. And now I'm coming in with my wall seniors with the Fat Master blade on there, and what I'm doing is I've got it all the way open and I'm taking it down to what is just slightly under a 2. And I'm letting that be my base length for around the parietal ridge. And then coming through and using clip over comb, which is what I just talked about with you guys, about using clip over comb with a slightly shorter length. So to do this, what I've done is I've taken my Fat Master blade and I've closed it slightly. That way the comb is helping make up for that. And guys, that's one thing I would say definitely focus on in your cuts is get behind the client, look at the silhouette of the hair and how it sticks out from the rest of the haircut whenever doing clip over comb. Don't just stay with it in front of you. Actually get on the side of it and adjust that way. You can see we got that smoothing out real easy. Now I'm coming through with my regular wall senior, also with an Andis blade on there, but it's the traditional taper blade. And I've got that all the way open and just going right into that length that I set in there with the Fat Master blade. This is kind of a fading down technique. I have several different techniques I use. One of them is fading from top to bottom, one from bottom to top, and I do one, and I think this right here is one of those techniques where I do a little bit of both. I get the top set, I fade down, but then I come in here like I'm doing right now, and I am putting in my bald line with the sabers. Probably the most vicious but yet smooth cutting trimmer on the market. The sabers are just where it's at, guys. You can see I'm not putting in a harsh line. I'm kind of buffing out as I do leave the scalp. And with gray hair, that's very important, guys. Silver hair, gray hair tends to shine and catch the light. So if you've got a line left, you don't want to punch in a harsh line. If you've got a line left, it will show up. So now I'm coming through with my X Ergos all the way open first, and then coming back through with it all the way closed to buff out that line even more. And guys, a haircut like this, you can run through and hit the basics pretty quick, but half the haircut is going to be finesse work. And now I've got the half guard on my X Ergo with it all the way open, and what I'm doing is I'm just kind of buffing out where those transitions met between the Fat Master blade and the regular Andis blade. Now with half guard all the way closed. Now I'm coming through, and this is another technique I've talked about before, guys, is coming through with your shaver, especially whenever you're doing a very low bald fade. Coming in with your shaver and starting off going with the grain, with the shaver. That's going to keep you from getting those super harsh lines. And after you go down, then you come back up and buff that into where you went with the grain with it. Now I'm coming through with my texturizing shears. You may call them thinning shears, but that's not actually what they do. They texturize. Now I've got a rule when it comes to me using my texturizing shears. Never more than half the length of the hair shaft. I hit the tips first, then I go at least halfway in. And right here you can see they can also be very useful for darker patches of hair on gray hair. Sometimes you got a little bit more pepper than salt. This right here is a technique I've picked up from several different people, and I've also seen OS Craft Blends talk about this, but going in there with your scissors with a anchor point, like what I'm doing with my finger right there, and just hitting those dark spots, it can absolutely make a difference in a blend. Sometimes, you know, some people's hair coloring when it comes to salt and pepper is just too dark or too splotchy to work with, but regardless, this is what we do. And of course, following up with a nice old school hot lather neck shave with a hot towel to follow. So guys, that's what I call the general, and I appreciate you watching. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, and always, I'll catch you on the next one.